Hello, everybody. This is Mandy at Laugh and Grackle. We're going to be having our transparent today, so let's get started.
King of Wands reverse. This is someone who uses intimation to get his way, relying on fear to pave the way. He might be more concerned about selfish things instead of doing things that helps humanity, unless it helps to make his image bigger. Six of Cups reverse. This is an indicator some childhood experiences making a return to our minds, causing pain. At a time of calm was actually agonizing. Judgment reversed. Remember in Poltergeist, the pool scene, where the mother has slid into the murky water and the skeletons start popping up and grabbing her. This is how our past comes up, but we're too terrified to bring them to light to be able to deal with them once for all. So instead of seeing blue skies, all those memories pull us underneath the murky water. We might need help combating those demons of the past. Combined. Someone is having a severe anxiety, fear, sense of abandonment, and trauma from their past, due to some incidents that has happened lately. Bringing all those feelings, experiences, and fears, to the forefront of their mind. The King of Wands is someone who is just dealing with their own situation and is undeterred to others' problems and doesn't mind pointing things out to anyone who thinks differently than them. If they get confronted with things, they will try to bully others to get their own way. Influence card I found after everything, so this is the Death reverse. This is an indicator that we're fighting changes in our life. This lets us know that we need to change this situation, but we are resisting that change due to fear. What could we do or gain by us losing that fear? That's what we need to focus on and not that fear.
The King of Wands. This is somebody who has a big presence. They're used to getting their way. And, if this was in an upright position, it would be a good thing. Where this is in reverse, this person is relying on that fear, that intimidation factor, to get what they want. And they're, the things that they are interested in is more about selfish things. What can I get out of this? And, they don't do anything if it doesn't give them something in return. And, it's one of those things. The Six of Cups. This is about our past making a return visit. And this is about this particular person who has not had a very good childhood. And, in childhood, you're supposed to be, taken care of, loved, all of those things. They didn't necessarily have that. And, whenever these past memories come up, throws them into a flashback, and it causes severe emotional pain. So, that's an influence. Now, the Judgment. If you remember, in Poltergeist, the mama falls into the pool. and all of the spirits that was there on the property come out and was trying to grab her while she was in the pool. Well, these fears that this person is going through is really, really signified in that particular thing. You know, they're so terrified of these memories that they can't bring them to the forefront and really take a look at them and, for the lack of a better word, dissect them to take care of this fear to not rear its ugly head anymore. You know, when you're in that mindset of fear, you know, it's literally like being pulled under the murky water, and we're not able to get ourselves out of that. And, you know, we might need some, you know, help trying to get rid of these thoughts, these memories, and trying to integrate them into ourselves. You know, this is considered shadow work, and this one is pretty deep. So they have to kind of not just go into their consciousness, but also their subconscious to regulate those emotions, to be able to bring it to the forefront. Now, you know, like I said, you know, with the mind, we have those fears, those anxiety, the fear of abandonment, and just trauma. And, you know, whenever we have certain things come up, it can combine all of that to make it unbearable. And, you know, the King of Wands is not helping the situation. They are only going to deal with what they have, so they just kind of push everything out and, you know, you're on your own, you know, kind of situation. But, you know, I think it's the King's attitude, I guess is the best word, of not helping and not, you know, doing other things to help, puts them in that mindset of they're abandoned, they're on their own, they've got to do what they got to do in order to get whatever they're trying to get. And, you know, that puts the other people in a very, very bad mindset because they're being triggered by the King, which really just knocks them over the edge, basically. Now, you know, I had already laid out all the cards, and I ended up finding the Death card in reverse. And I included this as a influence card. This is, you know, us fighting the changes that happen in our life. And, you know, with the emotions going on, they are really, really, really fighting against this change. You know, they don't want to think about, work on, you know, anything that has to do with that past and those traumas. But they don't understand that they have to deal with this, because if they don't, it keeps coming back. And the more the more times this comes up, the deeper it goes. So, you know, we have to look at those fears and really ask ourselves, what would we do or gain by losing that fear? And, you know, those answers can vary. But, you know, whenever you really, really look at the situation, do you want to remain in fear? Do you want to keep having these things come back? And the more that, you know, these things come back, it keeps getting worse and worse and worse, which is making that fear, trauma, and everything else that much more of an influence in your life. In order to drop that influence, you have to integrate this. You know, this isn't negotiable. This is going to keep coming up. So what are we going to gain if we remove that fear? We get our life back. We get strength back. We get, you know, the victim part of that gone. That's what we need to focus on, instead of the fear running the show. So, you know, that is why this is so important to take care of it. Because, you know, if, let's say for instance, you have kids, guess what that fear is going to transfer to? In order to sit there and to take care of your kids, to make sure that they don't have those same kind of things, you have to deal with this. And, you know, that's why taking care of these shadow works is so important. Because we don't want to leave those hurts and those pains in, you know, trauma to the future generations. You know, but how do we do that? By us taking that first step. Is getting that help, looking at that trauma, and really integrating it within ourselves. That's going to be my read. We're going to be having our stained glass and our soul coaching tomorrow. So come on back and see me. Do like and shares, and I'll see you guys later.